Kamoshi all smiles, of course.
Forse era meglio che flat.
I really like Tamasauskas' game. Very methodical.
Yeah, throughout the course of play yesterday, I mean, he didn't put a foot wrong. I mean, really just found the spots, made the most of the hands he was dealt, and didn't draw a lot of attention to himself in the process, just content to do his bidding. King nine of spades, paying a visit to Ron Ilani, dominating the queen jack of spades for Rezai.
Let's see if Rezai can win with king nine of spades and against it. Well, this time he's going to have the lesser of the two spade holdings. This is an interesting spot for Hochheim.
Raising flat in front of him. He's in the cutoff with a baby suited ace.
Yeah, I think I like this fold. It's not so pleasant to be coming in as the third player with the baby ace, despite it being suited. Let's see if Svach wants to play. He does not.
Seven, eight offsuit can close the action at a discount. Off of 1.2, though, every little chip counts. Is this compulsory, Chewy?
No, I think I like this decision to fold. Sometimes these middling cards can really get us in trouble when we're up against a player who's called a middle position raise and middle position themselves. Oh
so
my.
His exit allows the most improbable of things to take place. 6-3 deuce, all spades, flush over flush.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
Ilani immediately sitting up in his seat. And so interesting that he ran that massive bluff just moments earlier on that 3 club board. This time, 3 spades out there. And, yeah. Unless a 4th spade comes or some other unusual circumstances, like maybe running 6s or whatnot, this is going to be painful for Mr. Rezai.
Yeah, no question about it. Do you feel as though the pre-flop raisers checking board textures such as this typically are doing so in a very honest manner, unlike what we see here?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I think a lot of players will proceed somewhat cautiously on this type of board. He is just slow playing, though. Okay.
Board does pair on the turn after Rezai, understandably, with the queen high spades, barreled 150 and got called.
I'm actually somewhat surprised to see Ilani just calling on the flop. I would imagine a lot of Rezai's hands are going to be pocket pairs or hands with a single spade. More so pocket pairs. And I would think we want to start extracting value from those straight away.
And that pursuit comes in the form of 580, says Rezai.
And I think at this point, now we probably just want to call.
If you're Elani?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, if Rezai's bluffing, we certainly don't want to fold him out. And the question we always have to ask ourselves when we raise a hand like this is, what kinds of hands might we be able to sell to our opponent that we could be bluffing with? If he had a bare king of spades, maybe. It's possible. He did make that very aggressive play moments earlier. It seems he agrees.
Yeah, there's the flat. Another 1,060,000 into the middle. You see Daniel looking over as if to say, what exactly would compel you to do this? There are going to be some non-spade overpairs, I would imagine, Chewy, that are involved in this behavior?
Yeah, definitely pocket pairs spring to mind as the exact sort of holding that Rezai would look to be getting value from here. And Ilani lucky to dodge a fourth spade or a third three. This should lead to him getting paid in full. Assuming he does check it over, but in any case. And I think the decision for Mr. Razai is basically just, does he want to bet all of Ilani's chips or most of them? Clearly we see this is a dark road to be traveling down, but from his perspective, a queen high flush seems as if it's the nuts.
So he jams, and obviously the pair on board, occasional concerns, nut flush, occasional concerns, but Elani does stick it in there, and how delighted will he be to see a queen high flush, and you see Razai just flicking
It's a tough one.
that hand into the bin.
Getting dealt aces and winning the blinds twice is going to cause a soft boil. I think you're revealing something about your own personality, my friend.
Oh, listen, well documented is my psychopathy, Chewy. I mean, you kidding me? The stone maniac out there.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
This is how it happens, right? I'll get 3-bet 19 straight times, okay? And then every one of those times I was light, let's say, or I was at something. Then I find the aces, and I'm ready for the guy who's been the 3-better 90% of the time. And he just mugs.
Well, he just didn't get dealt
Takes a
7-8
phone
suited
call.
that time.
You know what I mean? Oh, okay, great. Not today? No? Not this hand, huh? All right.
Commotion with a pretty disciplined fold Jack-8 suited there. Understandable. Tamasauskas raising off of around 25 big blinds.
Nothing undisciplined about having done so with ace-9 suited as Elani seeks his bearings. King 5 off. We're not married to it.
We're not, but this is, you know, a reasonable holding. Closing the action against the button. Let's C3.
Meet for coffee.
Yeah.
You know, maybe not lunch or dinner, but
This has meet
it's
for
a
coffee
date.
vibes. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to see how things develop.
Oh, king in the window. Followed by another one behind it. How about trip kings? And all of a sudden, this date's going well.
Yes. Any soft boil is quickly dissipating from Elani's seat.
Paired flops, even with the lack of the ace, the heart, Tamasauskas could certainly just sprinkle something out there to guide Elani into the bin.
I don't see why not. Ace high will very often be the best hand here. So now the question for Elani becomes, do we want to slow play or do we want to raise right now? And if I'm sitting in his shoes, I'm definitely raising. At least strongly, strongly considering it. And for Vlados, it becomes annoying. It's not just the presence of the flush draw. It's also the fact that against that button range, you know, Elani could take plenty of hands, let's say 5, 6, 6, 7 with a club, queen of clubs with other side cards.
I mean, even just front door flush draws could potentially take the aggressive approach. It doesn't have to be a semi.
Absolutely. He beats all the flush draws and then all of those bluffs. Not to mention some diamonds, right? 4, 5 of diamonds. These are all plausible holdings as well.
So Tamasauskas does make the call, doesn't find an ace or a 9 on the turn, but really doesn't find the kind of card that should be leaving him under the impression that if ace high was good prior, that it is no longer. And we'll see whether or not a price is laid with these trip kings by Elani that could keep the Lithuanian interested.
Yeah. You know, I wouldn't mind a check. And it would sort of do a nice job of mimicking the way that he played his bluff earlier by letting the turn check through and then making a very large river bet. But this is, of course, understandable. We're just looking to continue getting maximum value. And for Tamasauskas, the ace-9 is tricky. Again, beating all the bluffs. Flush draws are really the main types of hands we would hope to be seeing. Really not giving anything away here. Either player, that is. And he understandably sticks around. There are plenty of hands that he does beat. And it really is only the king that he's behind. Of course, we see that Ilani has that, and Tamasauskas is drawing dead.
Yeah, we kind of remove 3x from the equation as played.
Yeah.
Clubs do arrive, however, on the end. Unfortunately for Tamasauskas, though, Chewy,
Yeah.
it's in the form of a 9. So kings and 9s nut kick.
Yeah, this is tricky. I actually wonder how Elani will play this.
Yeah,
Certainly,
he unblocks clubs, too.
yeah, he has to be weary of Tamasauskas having a flush draw. And I think these are the situations that, you know, really kind of above the rim players. Oh, wow, okay, he just puts out 100. Well, that's certainly going to get called.
Deeply downsized.
Yeah.
So much so that maybe... No, ace-9 turning itself into a bluff would just be so absurd. Here.
No, he's definitely not going to turn it into a bluff. But he could think his man has an 8 somehow. I think he'll just call, but crazier things have happened. Imagine a value raise, and he gets a fold. That would be really tremendous.
The trouble, of course, is that Ilani understands how inviting his river sizing is to a raise.
Of course.
So he needs to account for that.
Yes, I don't necessarily think that will happen. I was just reaching for wild outcomes. He bet the 100 so quickly. It's an interesting situation.
Yeah, begrudgingly, Tamasauskas flings the call in there, and perhaps the road less traveled, but embarked upon to considerable profit by Elani.
Yeah.
Seven three suited. Doesn't rate to oh, wait, hang on. When the glasses speak, you know, we just may be making our decisions based on that. No, stop it. Behave. Now a king on the button. Not lost on Tamasauskas is the value of this kit.
Yeah, I think this is enough. As previously discussed, all that money up top. We do have to play to win a bit.
Not all, but most. Deployed for a second time by Tamasauskas as he tries to keep his head above water. Jack 6, not a candidate. We're going to see some stalling right about now, Chewy. I mean, we are one removed from the immediate paid jump, but obviously...
I think that's what's happening. Although it's interesting. Oh, my.
All of a sudden, never mind the stalling. Elani can speed his chips into the middle.
Yeah.
For Tamasauskas, this is demoralizing. Decisions were always foregone. Conclusions, and the King 8 does have one overcard to the Jacks, but for Vladas, perhaps the bell tolls.
Good luck.
Yeah, it's an uphill battle here.
Thank you. King 8 against Jacks. Just the king. Black king is good.
ג'קים לקינג 8 שלו. קינג 8.
Updates being provided to the rail. 1.7 million in the middle. No king, though. Queen 10-5.
He'll take a jack now, though.
King is
Yeah.
still good.
Instead, the board pairs and the light flickers. Can the Lithuanian find a cowboy to stay alive?
Good game.
Nope.
GG then.
Good game, sir.
GG's issued.
Always a tough
Redraw,
competitor.
right?
Red draft, yeah?
Listen,
Yeah, redraw.
if I'm in the rest of the field, I see this man on his feet stepping out of the arena. I'm feeling a little bit better about my chances.
Absolutely.
And up in
Some casinos.
or
A
even
roulette
worse.
shark?
Yeah, truly.
Can squid go squid?
He bought roulette wheels and actually like
Yeah, he would just
ran
study.
roulette sims?
Oh, somebody said 150
Yeah,
was
the old-fashioned way.
But I mean, it's
No,
not a
500.
big of a difference.
What a legend.
It does sound fun, like the physics of it, watching the ball bounce around.
Then
Can't
also,
really be. I
they
mean, the
develop,
thing's
like,
spinning one
individual
way, the
development
ball's
and
going the other. Come on. Really?
and then
I don't know. I mean, apparently it worked for him.
What, and then he just quit?
No, so he was actually,
Busted.
yeah, he was sought after for his antics.
What do you mean by sought after?
I think people were unhappy with him.
What do you mean people?
Casino representatives, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know all the specifics. I read it a while ago, but I can vouch for the efficacy or the, perceived edge.
Are you suggesting he's at the bottom of Lake Mead potentially right now, Chewy?
No,
I
no,
mean,
no.
that's old school resolution.
This was an Englishman. I don't think he came across the pond. At least he didn't stay over here.
Are you suggesting he's at the bottom of the English Channel, Chewy?
No, I think he's living happily in the countryside with all of his winnings.
Okay.
Perhaps still just enjoying the spin of the ball.
Well, Ilani enjoying top pair here as digging in against Andrian's aggressions from the button. He works his way into top pair versus bottom pair. 200K C-bet being chewed on.
Oh my. Ilani now deeply troubled by this third 8.
I mean, one can't blame him for proceeding with caution, but it isn't like he was worried about running into trips in this spot, which is
course.
exactly where he finds himself so improbably versus Andrian, who rates to add damages to what has already been the pre-flop and the flop sizing.
There is like 3 with 3 million. There is like 3 people with 3 million. There, 1 with 2.
And a healthy 600 being sprinkled out.
This guy
Have to
with
imagine Ilani is going nowhere with his king.
3, 3.
Although the king with the kicker on board, we can understandably start to put ourselves in a bluff catching situation, if not chopping.
So, check calling 600 and now looking up at a queen, which improves our kicker from the 10. North a couple of clicks, but really uncomfortable potential sizings could greet Ilani on this river.
What are we thinking? 1.5, 1.6? 1.8 maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
exactly
tough.
where we're at. 2/3-ish.
1.8?
So for Ilani at this point, he really has to dig deep to figure out what are the kinds of hands that Andrian could be bluffing with, and how likely is it that he has those hands. The 6 could potentially interfere with some of those straight draws that we're firing away, and he does get away from it pretty quickly. Nicely done.